Welcome to Tater Time with Big Al and the Tater. Your host, Mr. Caleb Strickland.
Welcome to week 5 of Tater Time. All right, AJ's been 10-2 on his high school picks. All right, AJ, Stanhope finally got that win you were talking about. This week, who you got, Stanhope at Charles Henderson?
I got Stanhope building on their confidence from last week.
All right, what about Wetumpka at Greenville?
Wetumpka, no doubt.
Okay, so let's recap the games from last week. We'll start out with Mississippi State at Georgia. Mississippi State raised all their fans' hopes with that big win against LSU, and then they went between the hedges and got slaughtered. What did you think there, guys?
Pretty much got burned on this one. I don't know if it's more of an indictment on Mississippi State being overrated after the big win against LSU, or if Georgia's that good, but I have to say that Georgia's defense especially was impressive. They pretty much shut down Mississippi State. Impressive win.
I feel like Georgia just proved they were the top dog in this matchup. And
Top dog.
yeah, I guess Mississippi State still was celebrating their win over LSU, and Fitzgerald just didn't have the same type of game, and that's what happened.
All right, TCU versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State and Mason Rudolph got worked over by the Horned Frogs. Were you shocked?
No, and I should have known better.
I agree, yeah.
Okay, moving on. All right, so Auburn versus Missouri. Missouri affirmed that they are not that great this year, or was it that Auburn has actually tightened up and gotten some stuff worked out? Is their season looking any better?
They didn't turn the ball over 10, 15 times or whatever, but so I guess they did tighten up in that aspect. Missouri's not a very good team, but a win is a win. You take it.
Yeah, I feel like Missouri's just a horrible football team, and to be honest with you, I don't even think they deserve being in our conference.
Okay, so a hopeful Vandy laid it down that they wanted Bama. Apparently they got them, and what did you guys take away from that game?
Yeah, well, I'll take this one to start off with. I actually went to this game and just watching the pregame warm-ups, I was kind of surprised that it wasn't as close as it was. But Bama was ready for this game, and it was just another business trip. Vanderbilt was hooting and hollering, and the Alabama players were just like, okay, we'll see what happens when the game starts.
No Tater effect this week. Now, this game felt like one of these games, pick-up basketball games with your little cousin who talks trash, and you just go out there and block all his shots, don't let him score a single point, dunk all over him, and just put him back in his place. Alabama showed up and just kind of put Vandy back in their place, reminded them that they are Vandy. But it is a game that Alabama can go back and look and as an example of how to play, and this was a complete game, so good win.
All right, time for a new section this week. It's going to be Tot of the Week, where we talk about the best play of the weekend. I think it's pretty much unanimous. The Penn State last 2-minute drive there.
Yeah, I feel like Penn State, this was definitely the play of the weekend and probably the game of the weekend. Feel like Trace didn't have his best game coming to this final drive, but he put together this 30-second drive with 80 yards to go, hits 2 big fourth down conversions on this drive, including the last one to Jawan Johnson in the back of the end zone. Perfect pass, couldn't have thrown it any better, and I was just speechless.
It was a great game. It was like a 3 at the buzzer in basketball. I mean, it was a great ending, I guess. The weird part about it was if you looked at the stat sheet, Penn State dominated the entire game, and you look up in the fourth quarter and Iowa's winning. But that's kind of Iowa's thing. They grind them out. They make it look ugly. They ugly the game up. But good win for Penn State coming out the way they did.
All right, we're rolling to the picks for the week. We'll start off with USC at Washington State. I mean, the Trojans are going down to Pullman to play the Cougars. I mean, is this going to be a Friday night game worth watching?
I believe it will be. I think this is going to be a shootout. But I do, however, think USC will win 44-33.
I think the matchup here is going to be on with the QBs. For Washington State, it's senior quarterback Luke Falk. He has been a 4-year starter for Washington State. He's gotten better every single year. On the other side of the ball, you got Sam Darnold, which everybody knows is the early season hype for Heisman this year, but he hasn't quite lived up to expectations yet. but he is kind of a gamer-type player. I look for him to step up in this one. Washington actually has a defense this year. Washington State actually has a defense this year, so they could keep it close, but I'm not getting burned by the trendy train again. I'm going USC. I think they got too much firepower.
All right, Georgia at Tennessee. Does Georgia get to revenge that Hail Mary win at the end last year?
I think Georgia's thinking about revenge, and Butch Jones is thinking about looking for the next guy to blame. They have been consistent in one area, and that's been in ineptitude this year. Struggling last week against UMass. It's really at this point, and then Butch has the audacity to go and blame the media and complain about negativity. How about take some personal responsibility, Butch? It's hard to believe that this game's not one-sided Georgia's way, but it is the SEC. There's all kinds of parity this year, it seems like. So who knows? I'm going Georgia big, but that's my pick.
Yeah, I feel like Butch Jones, you can only build a foundation so long before you got to have some results. He just really hasn't proven anything since he's been at Tennessee, proven that he can get lucky, I guess. But this will not be one of those games. Georgia will clean house, pun intended, and they will come away with a win 41-17 in Knoxville.
All right, number 2, Clemson at Virginia Tech. Clemson goes to Blacksburg at night, which is notoriously a hostile environment. Do you think that affects the Clemson Tigers at all?
I mean, I feel like it could if Clemson allows it with turnovers, but I'm not going to get burned like I did with Louisville earlier this year. I do think Virginia Tech is a little bit better team than Louisville. However, I think Clemson's defense will be too much for Virginia Tech, and I feel like they will win this game 38-14 at Blacksburg.
I tend to agree with my compadre here. I'm going to go with Clemson. I think a thing that could be interesting and keep Virginia Tech in the game is their explosive redshirt freshman quarterback, Josh Jackson. He's looked very explosive, just a really good player. He's got a rapport already with senior wide receiver Cam Phillips. They're putting up some big numbers this year. They could get Clemson a little trouble, but in the end, I think Clemson's defense is just going to be too much, and they'll take this one.
Okay, so Mississippi State at Auburn. We actually have a Tater Interrogator who sent in a video, so we'll just take a look at that.
What's up, Tater? This is Jay Wallace coming at you with the question for this week. Alright, my question is around the game between two 3-1 Western Division teams, the battle on the plains. The Mississippi State Bulldogs are coming into Jordan-Hare, while the NCAA is coming into Auburn Arena. Vegas likes them by 2 scores. They got Auburn picked to win by 2 scores, but rumor has it the wrong team is favored. AJ, Tater, let me hear your take on this game. Like Chuck Person, show me the money. Tater, tell us why.
Okay, well, for this one, thanks for the question, Jay. I think it's a really good question, especially with all the stuff going on at Auburn right now. I do think the wrong team is favored, and the only reason I say that, I think everybody's going off of what happened last weekend. Missouri's not a good football team, but I guess some folks think they're better than what they showed. And Mississippi State, yes, they got beat, but I feel like Georgia was just way more physical than them. And I feel like Mississippi State will get themselves together and be the Mississippi State team that I think they are. And I feel like this will be a close game. Auburn's defense will keep them in the game. Jared Stidham, to me, will struggle because he seems to struggle when he sees good defenses. So I feel like Mississippi State will win 24-20.
I think this is going to be a defensive struggle. Both teams have proven that they can play a little defense. I look for it to be low scoring. I do think Auburn wins, but I look for Mississippi State to cover.
All right. So the last game of the week, Ole Miss versus Bama. Ole Miss has been the Achilles heel for Bama these last 3 or 4 years, and they got some coaching troubles. Can they keep that going?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, this has kind of been Alabama's nemesis the last few years. This year, Ole Miss is not really expected to do much, but I do think they have a bright spot in Shea Patterson, their quarterback. He's chunking over 400 yards a game. He's got a little moxie to him. He's kind of like a Johnny Manziel, big play, big hype, running around, screaming, going crazy. I think he's their only chance they have in this game. He has to play lights out to even keep them in the game. And for that reason, in Alabama's defense, I'm going to go Bama to cover the 28.
Yeah, I feel like this will be another game where Alabama gets to show their running game and hopefully see Tua some more, who excited folks last weekend in Nashville. Feel like Bama will run away with this game 48-10.
All right.
Haters.
So who we got for Tater's Hater this week?
Well, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise. Blake Moling, second time this year. And I guess I really got to call you out on your Oklahoma State Cowboys, man. I mean, you tried to convince me all season that they belonged and they were going to be one of the 4 teams in. Well, guess what? They're not. And, I mean, you just can't go into your own field and lay an egg like you did against TCU, the Horned Frogs. I mean, you let a frog beat you? Really? I can't get it. Like, yeah, the purple, that's for TCU beating y'all, man. Again, you just talk about how great your quarterbacks have been over the years and how, Jalen Hurts isn't the best quarterback. He won't get drafted, which I think is baloney. I think he will get drafted whenever he gets out of Alabama. And, I mean, where's your quarterbacks at from Oklahoma State? The great ones. I mean, Brandon Whedon. Oh, yeah, that's right. He don't play football anymore. Forgot.
All right, so we seem to have forgotten the party is in the back, not
we
the
did. Yeah.
business in the front.
Yeah.
So business first, party second. All right, so thanks for joining us this week. Make sure to tune back in next week for a whole new episode of Taters Time. We'd love to hear what you say down in the comments. Also, if you have a video question, feel free to send it in to us, and we'll see if we can get it answered. Thanks.